Today we're going to learn about volcanoes. Before we begin, make sure that you cover your workspace with, you can use, for example, a plastic trash bag, newspapers, an old towel, and make sure you're wearing clothes that can get a little bit messy. Okay, from your kit, you're going to need your plastic volcano cone here, and then there's also a clear disc. I've already attached mine to the volcano. You just simply cut some pieces of tape from the provided roll and just fit the disc into the bottom so that this smaller disc is sticking out. It doesn't need to fit perfectly, so I just taped mine in 4 places just to kind of get it a secure fit. You're also going to need to take the plastic tubing, mine's a little bit dirty, I've been playing with it all morning, and cut it in half. Now this is a better size to fit in and use with the volcano. You're going to need one of your yellow plastic stirring spoons, your small measuring spoon for 125 milliliters, your syringe. You might need some scissors and an adult to help you with the plastic crater cap. If the hole in the middle is not big enough for a piece of the tubing to fit through, have an adult help you, maybe use scissors or a knife to make the hole a little bit bigger. You're also going to need about a cup of water from home. You'll need a beaker and then as well your gel powder. So just to begin, we're just going to kind of get this set up. I've already put this together, as I said. You're going to take half of your tubing and you're just going to stick it up through the middle, feed the bottom end out. There's out of either one of these notches, just so that the end runs out under the side. Now that you have this part, this end of the tube sticking up, you're going to take your crater cap and with the 4 tabs down, you'll stick the tube up through the hole in the crater cap and just kind of fit that cap there. And you can just wiggle and adjust your tubing so that your tubing is sticking out only about a ½ an inch from the top. I'm going to set that aside. Now it's time to make our magma. And magma is called lava once it's outside of the volcano. But when it's underground, it's called magma. And to do that, I'm going to take my beaker, my measuring spoon, and then also my gel powder. And I'm just going to take, about 5 or 6 flat scoopfuls of the powder. It's kind of a blue powder. I'm just going to fill it in there. 4, 5. Probably I'll do a little one more. Then I'm going to take my syringe and my water, and I'm going to fill my syringe up to about the 18 milliliter line. This is the line right before the 20. Let's see here. Okay. Now mine is pretty full. I'm going to squeeze out the extra, and I'm just going to come and squeeze it straight into my gel powder here. Okay. Use my spoon and stir it up. And the point here is to get a pretty good consistency that you'll know that it will flow easily through the tubes and up and out of your volcano. And I like to think about it in terms of like a milkshake. If you have a really thick milkshake, it's not so easy to suck up through a straw. So you want to make sure that you have it thin enough. You can add a little bit more water, a little bit more powder if you think it's too watery. Just mess around with it till you think you have a pretty good consistency. I want mine to be a little more liquid, so I'm going to take up a little more water and squirt it inside. Okay. I'm going to set my spoon aside. Okay, now I'm going to make sure my syringe is emptied out. And I'm just going to tilt my beaker. It's nice and wiggly. And I'm going to suck up into my syringe just as much of this as I can. I would say get at least 10 milliliters or so of the magma solution. If you get air in there, that's totally fine. If it doesn't suck up well, it might mean that you don't have enough water. I've got about 10. Okay, now I'm going to move this out of the way and turn my volcano so that the back pipe on the bottom is towards me. And this is really how a volcano works. Volcanoes build pressure. The liquid magma under the surface builds and builds and builds until it comes up basically through a pipe that is built naturally under the ground and it erupts. So I'm going to fit my syringe there at the back And it's going to be kind of messy, and I'm just going to push. And the faster you push, greater chance you have for possibly it going sky high. In this case, it didn't. I'm going to add a little bit more because I really want my lava to run down the sides. Whoop. Let me get a little bit more water there. Okay, mix it up again. It's coming down, but mine is still pretty thick. Whoa. That the lava itself is not really flowing. And that's true in nature. If lava is colder, then it doesn't flow as fast. It's thicker. But if it's hotter, it goes faster. So I'm going to give this a little push, see what I can get to come up out of here. There we go. Ah! It's begun to flow down. Now for this experiment, take a look at it, notice the patterns of how it flows, but make sure that you don't leave it too long. I would wash your volcano and equipment within the next 15 minutes before the next experiment. Otherwise, this magma will harden, and you don't want that to happen. So go ahead, and I'm going to clean out my tools and everything, and then I'll meet you back here for our next round. For our next experiment with volcanoes, continue to have the same setup as you had before with your plastic or newspaper or old towel underneath your workspace. You're going to need about a cup of water. You're not probably going to need scissors this time if your tubing is already cut, if you've already adjusted your crater cap to fit the small tube that goes underneath. You're going to need, of course, the crater cap here. Oh, this is the crater cap, the small one, but this volcanic cone. You're going to need the plastic disc underneath so that the smaller disc faces out. You're going to cut your tube in half and feed part of it up through the volcano so that about a ½ inch sticks out the top, and the other part sticks out around through the bottom so that you can access it. You're going to need a syringe, and you can tape these two pieces together. It's recommended. That's what I did before, is I taped the bottom disc and the volcano top together in 4 different places with the tape that's provided. Okay, so you're also going to need a mixing spoon and, of course, your gel powder. Hopefully that's everything I thought of. But what's new for this experiment is you're also going to need your little bags of colored sand. And it doesn't matter which one you use first. I'm just going to use yellow because that's bright and sunny and cheery. But first I'm going to begin by taking my gel powder, and I'm going to scoop probably about 5 scoops into my beaker. Here, this is the basis of how I'm going to make my lava. My magma, it turns into lava once it reaches the top of the volcano. So once it reaches the surface, so 4, okay, 5. And now I'm going to need about 2 scoops of the yellow sand. It's probably, let's see how much is this, probably about half of the bag, maybe it's all of the bag. Okay, 1 and 2. Yeah, it's pretty much most of the bag, okay? And now I'm going to take my syringe and my water, which is still pretty colorful from the last explosion, and I've got lava in my hair, and I'm going to draw up about 18 milliliters of water. Bring it, transfer it into my mixture here. And as I mentioned in the previous experiment, the consistency you're going for is something more like a running milkshake, because you want it to be able to flow easily through the tubing up to the top of the volcano and down the sides. And if it's too thick, like mine was pretty thick at the beginning, then it's not going to flow very freely. But it's actually a really good example of what happens naturally in nature, because when lava cools and hardens, it becomes thicker and it doesn't move as well. But the hotter that the lava is, it runs faster and more fluidly. And that gives you a good idea to know the average temperature of lava. If you're seeing it in a film or something, you can say, oh, that's probably a lot hotter than any slow-moving lava. Regardless, it's all going to burn, but... Okay, I've got mine. I'm going to add a little bit more water to mine. Okay. just to make it a fair consistency. All right, get all the clumps out of that. Now I'm going to take my syringe, empty out all the water from it, tip my beaker on the side, and just try to pull up as much of this as I can, this mixture. I'd say get at least 10 milliliters in there. If it doesn't all quite fill it, it's fine. I've got about 10. And now I'm just going to put the tip of the syringe to the bottom of my tubing. Force it up. Ooh, here we go. This is like the perfect consistency. Oh, comes out the side a little bit. So to give you an idea, okay, now all you have to do is repeat these steps so just rinse out your beaker and repeat the same step with the gel powder, choosing another color. But first, let your lava harden. If you're not so patient, you can use a hair dryer actually to help it harden a little bit faster. And just repeat and push through your next layer of lava. Maybe it's red on top of yellow, on top of green, on top of black. And then once they've all hardened, you can chisel away at them a little bit to see the colors, to see the layers and how they formed. Maybe one of your lava flows is a little more fluid. It's hotter and it goes more liquid and it goes down the other side, or it spreads out in a different pattern. Maybe some is colder and thicker and it just kind of clumps down the side of your volcano in some way. And you can also test and see how different pressures affect the lava flow. For example, if you take your syringe and you push it very quickly, it's going to force all the lava out of the top very, very quickly and probably into the air. If it's slower, it flows down a little bit easier and it doesn't end up in your hair like I had it. So I'd be interested to know what color combinations you use, how fast, how slow, was it more liquid? What happened in your experience? I'll see you next time.